beer.
Alright guys, well it's homebrew day for me. This would be like my 6th batch of beer, I guess. Brewed the first one last year with my girlfriend. And then I brewed an alcoholic ginger ale that really didn't turn out. And I did 2 batches with my friend Kip. One of them turned out great. And I brewed an IPA on the 2nd, January 2nd. And I'm brewing the same batch now, only this time I'm switching up the hops. I'm switching out the times when I throw the flavor and the aroma. I'm switching those. I'm reversing the order just to see what the difference is for an experiment. So yeah, I don't have a lot of experience, but brewing beer is quite fun, and anyone can do it. So I'm going to show you a little bit of stuff here, what's going on in my lab, I guess you should say. Alright, so here we go. So I'm only doing 1-gallon batches right now. Got my thermometer on there. It says it's 72 degrees in here. The reason I like doing 1-gallon batches is because I can experiment with it. It's cheaper. If you don't have a lot of space, you can do 1-gallon batches. I hope to upgrade to 5 gallons soon. I do have the space for it, but I want to see, how well I can create a recipe on my own and have it actually taste good and drinkable. So we'll see. Anyway, I sanitized everything that I needed. Well, I cleaned it first. Got my spoon. I have a jar here because since it is a smaller vessel, the fermentation is quite vigorous sometimes, and you can blow off your airlock. So instead I like to do a blow off tube. There's my tube. I have my funnel for when I put it in here, when I pour the wort in there. A stopper, of course. The airlock, which I don't need. I don't know why I got that out, but whatever. It's clean. I have a strainer. I have extra water here in case I need to sparge. My water is going right now. I have almost a gallon of water in there. I don't lose a lot of water because it's a small batch and you don't boil as vigorously with these small batches anyway. I have a scale. I have a measuring cup to put my hops in. I have some hops left over from my batch. They smell delicious. Smells like dank weed. I got my grains here. This is an all-grain batch. $3.70 for all that. My yeast. I'm using US 05. My muslin bag. And my recipe and directions that I made. So we shall see. Anyway, first process, clean your shit. Make sure it's super clean. Second, start getting your water going so you can steep your grains. And after that, I'll tell you the next step. The next step, which I forgot to mention, should be the first step. Pour yourself a beer. I got this one right here. It is Puerto Rico by Arcadia Ales. Pretty awesome. Pretty cool label. I wish I was there. It's cold as hell right now in Michigan. 5.5% alcohol. Made in Kalamazoo. So, anyway, how's it taste? Let's find out. It's quite unique. The coconut does not taste like any coconut that I've had in other beers. It's more nuttier. Therefore, I think it's real coconut. I think it's real coconut. There's like when I eat coconut, I'll take little shavings out, eat it. It's kind of nutty. It is kind of nutty. It's not a bad porter. A little suntanish, you know, sunscreen flavor, but it'll do for brew day. Anyway, let's brew. So my goal is to get this steeping grain water up to 148. Right now it looks like I'm at almost 100. I'd say it's about 92. So we got a ways to go. I'm looking for a better thermometer. This one sucks, so if anyone has any good suggestions, I am a cheapo, just so you know, so let me know. Now that my water is at the correct steeping temperature, I'm going to pour my grains in my bag and we'll begin steeping for about 45 minutes. Against these grains. Alrighty. Usually I use a little muslin sock, but I forgot to pick them up. So instead I'm using these mesh bags. This is an easier process with 2 people. Today I'm brewing solo. Make sure you get every little last grain out of there, so we can get our sugars. Throw that away. I'm going to tie this up. A lot of people like to dough in and make sure that all their grains get moisture on them. I'm not doing that today. So, in we go. We're at our temperature. There we are. Remember, clean utensils. Make sure everything's clean. Just gonna bob it a little bit to make sure there's moisture in there. And now we're just going to let it do its thing. Set our timer. "45 minutes. Steep the grains." All grain brewing. I don't suggest using an electric top, but if that's all you have, then that's what you got to do. It's very hard to get your temperature correct when you're doing that, but now we wait. It's a waiting game. Well, while we're waiting for our grains to steep for our 45 minutes, I figured I better crack open a beer. This is Founders Centennial IPA, and that's what I'm brewing, an IPA. 65 IBUs, 7.2%, tons of Centennial yummy. Look at that head. It's only proper to drink what you're trying to brew. I'm not trying to brew a Centennial IPA, but I'm brewing an IPA. So, let's see. Oh, delicious, citrusy bite. Piney. There's a little sweetness in the malt bill there. Mixes well with that piney, citrusy hops. It smells like great grains. I love Centennial. Thank you, Founders. So, I'm not sure if I said it already. I may have. But this is only my 6th time brewing, so it's still all quite new to me. I'm learning, every time I brew, I'm learning something new. I mean, I've been reading about brewing, I go to forums, I ask questions, I have friends that brew, you know, I ask a million questions, I need to know everything, I want to know everything. So anyway, 6th time brewing. Second time, where it's my own recipe. I picked all the grains myself. I picked the amount of grains. I picked all the hops. I picked what times to throw the hops in for flavor and for aroma. Bitter, I just throw in right away. I researched, what qualities each hop has based off what I want my beer to taste like, the outcome, the goal. So, I encourage you, after you brewed a couple beers, whether they were successful or not, whether they were kits or not, to just keep on going. Don't let, your first or second or third batch that didn't turn out get you down. It's a science, it's cooking, there's a lot to learn, but it's easy, If you can boil water, you can brew beer. And it's so fun looking up like the different aspects of hops, alpha acids, and your malt bill, what you're using. I prefer all grain personally, but you don't have to do that. You can do extract with some adjunct grains in there as well, or grains. So yeah, for this recipe, it's the same one as the one I created, which I brewed a couple weeks ago. Only this time I'm reversing the hop order that I had originally. So whatever I threw in for the flavoring hops at the certain time, I'm switching those with the aroma. And whatever I did for the aroma previously, I'm switching those for the flavor. I want to know what each hop does, how it changes it. So I haven't even tasted my original batch yet. It's still in secondary. It's clarifying. I was going to dry hop it, but it smelled so good, I did not want to wreck it. It didn't need it. It didn't need it. So, maybe I'll do a review of all my home brews for future episodes. I don't know. Would you guys be interested in that? Alright, well, anyway, we're still steeping. And when we get to the boil, we will record it. It smells like cereal up in here. 3, 2, 1, 0. Alright, so we are done steeping. Our next step is to leave the green bag in there and get it up to our boiling temperature that we want. And then once it's up to boiling temperature, we will drain our grains and we will throw in our bittering hops. So let's crank the heat. Alright, so we're up to temperature. Now we got to drain our bag here of grains. So let's do that. Here we have it, folks. Draining. Want to get all those good sugars. So, since we're up to temperature and this is draining, let's measure out our bittering hops. I'm using some Michigan hops and some of Michigan Boy. Top Head Farms. Got my scale. Make sure you have your container on it first before you turn it on, or your measurements will be off. Since it's a small batch, I'm going to do a small amount. Boom! Shakalaka! Alright, something's not right there. Here we go. Whoa, it's going crazy. It likes electronics. Anyway, there's 7 grams in there. Smells fucking dank. Yum. Alright, we're at temp. The boiling is a little bit different for a small batch. It's at the right temperature for what I'm doing for a small batch. Usually you'd see it more vigorous and crazy for a 5-gallon batch. But here goes the bitterings. There you go. Yeah, buddy. Set the timer. 60 minutes. Oh, this smells fucking good. I still have 45 minutes of the boil. So it's time to crack open another beer. Today we have Nicey Spicy by Short's Brewing Company, American Wheat Ale with orange zest, lemon zest, coriander, and peppercorns. A gentle mixture of elegance and redolence for any occasion. Delicious! I fucking love it. It smells like a wheat ale. Very zesty. Very zesty. I smell more of the orange zest than I do lemon zest. I've had this beer many times, but I love it every time. It's nice. The mouth feels nice. The body's medium. You get a nice little spice in there from the peppercorns dancing in your tongue. It's a nice little spicy treat. There's some bitterness there from the hops and the oranges and the lemons, the zest there. Oh, freaking good. Alright, so there's about 20 minutes left in the boil. So it's time to sanitize anything that's going to touch the wort. Sanitization is the most important thing in brewing, in my opinion. If you don't sanitize, you're going to have infected beer, spoiled beer. So anything that touches the wort needs to be sanitized. I like to use Sandstar. It's fairly affordable and it lasts a long ass time. So here's Sandstar. 5-star chemicals. I can squeeze as much as I need in there. Since it's a small gallon batch, I don't need a lot. So I need to sanitize this funnel. This tube probably, if there's any blow off. Definitely need to sanitize cork. We're not using the airlock today. I'll probably sanitize this. And definitely gonna have to sanitize the carboy. Fill it up enough. Fill it up enough to cover everything. Let it sit there for a while. It says about 1 to 2 minutes, so we'll let that do its thing. Got our carboy sanitizing here. Let that sit for a while. Make sure you get around the rim as well. What we got left here? 20 minutes. Extra water if we need it. Still sanitizing, still bubbly. Beautiful, beautiful. Alright, well I gotta start putting in my flavoring hops here. You can put your flavoring hops when you want. Most people do it at between 30 and 0 minute mark. It's up to you what you really want to do. I'm not going to give away what time I'm throwing mine in, but you can research that. You can figure that out if you want. It's an experiment, so it's beautiful. It's a fun thing. So I'm going to do that here soon. I'm going to measure them out and throw them in. I've had them stored in the fridge. They're still great. I just opened them up last week. I'm trying to use them up before they go bad. So here I go. Oh my god. That smells like fucking cat piss pine. Yum! Ah! Everything's been well sanitized. There's still some foam in there. Remember, don't fear the foam. Everything's clean. I got my blow-off tube water. We're good. Flavor hops, go! Flavor hops in. Yeah. Oh, smells sexy. 4, 3, 2, 1. Beep. Alright, so time to throw the aroma hops. I like to throw mine in at flame out, so we will flame out. Remove from heat, which is kind of like flaming out. Throw our aroma hops in there. Let it do its thing for a minute. Everything's sanitized, ready to go, so now we have to cool down our wort to temperature. At least to about 70 degrees, or 75. So we need some ice. Ah, fuck! Forgot to get ice. Alright, so we're gonna use these ice packs. When you forget to use ice, or when you forget to buy ice, you have to be creative. So I don't think these packs are gonna be... Whoa! I don't think these packs are gonna be enough. Cold water. We'll have to figure something out here. When you're in a bind, you figure it out. I'll figure it out. No worries. Alright, so now we're cooling down the wort to 75 degrees. So we can put it in our carboy and let it start fermenting and add our yeast and all that good stuff. Like I said, I'm a dumbass. I forgot to buy ice. So always make a list. Be prepared. If you're not prepared, be prepared to come up with some creative solutions. So we're out of ice. But here's my creative solution. There's my creative solution. We're going to be using popsicles. Yep. Isn't that just so cute? So creative. Make sure you don't splash any water or any bacteria or anything like that in your wort from your sink. I would suggest cleaning your sink or wherever you're cooling your wort down at. But, yep, creativity. Gotta do what you gotta do. Excuse me. You can also add some salt in here, in the water, of course, not in the wort. And that will help cool it down. Our wort is almost at our temperature we're looking for, about between 70 and 75. Time to prep the yeast. I like to kind of incubate the yeast, wake it up a little, put it in some warm water. For this batch I'm using, since it's 1 gallon batch, experimental batch, I'm going to use like 1/4 to half a packet of yeast. And I have sanitized my scissors. This is clean. Sanitize that. So let's take care of that. little bit more. Alright. Now we need warm water. So I have my warm water and my yeast. Gonna mix it up a bit. Make sure my little yeast buddies aren't clumpy. Mix it up a bit. It's warm temperature or room temperature water. This yeast works best at this temperature. If you go over, it will kill it. If you go under, it's still sleeping. So that's why we're doing it. And then we talk to it. We tell it we love it. I love you, yeast. Make beautiful beer. Make amazing, beautiful beer. Make a beautiful IPA. Make something tasty, amazing. Just do your job, men and women, or unisex, whatever you are. I believe in you. You have a job. Do it. Do it well. Be proud. The end. We are at optimal temperature. I got my sanitized stuff ready here. We're going to pour it in. It smells so good. I think I'm going to leave a lot of the hop material behind. Last time in this batch, I kept it in there. Doesn't need to stay in there. But I do want all the liquid. That's about it. There it is. Not quite at the 1 gallon mark. Cleaning bucket. So let's throw our yeast in. Here's our yeasty. We want every little drop. That almost got us to the 1 gallon. So I have a little bit of hot water here to fill it up. I'll do that off camera, and I'll show you what's next, and we're almost done. Next, we need to put on our blow-off tube setup. Look, like I'm up to the 1 gallon line. We're good. We're good. So we'll do that. The trick is to run the tube, end of your tube, in hot water. Run it under hot water. This will make it more malleable, so you can put it in your setup. And I will shove that in our cork and then put it in our glass, and I'll show you what that's like, and that'll be it. There we are, shoved it in there. Press the cork down as far as you can. Yeah. And tube goes down here, releases the CO2 and goes into the water. That's it, folks. Hope you enjoyed it. I hope I explained it well. If you have any questions, let me know. Like I said, this is only my 6th time doing this. I'm not a master. I don't even think I'm an amateur. I'm below that. So, cheers.